Let me just say, there is no place in the past that you could dig in that you will find your origin. Because you don't have an origin. You always was, always will be. And the problem is that every time we dig up and find Lucy, we're only finding a point in the reference of evolutionary consciousness. And that's where I'm going today. When we trace the evolutionary history of African spirituality to the time of its origins, we find documentation that reveals there was never a time that man was not. Let me say that again. There was never a time when man was not. That long before there was an Africa, an Al-Kibulan, in a time when the continental masses of Earth were once joined into one great land mass, called in several ancient texts Pangaea and Mu. Ancient stone tablets, scrolls, and manuscripts hidden within the underground vaults of the Vatican and in the vaults of major European and Arab-controlled museums say that the Earth was once inhabited but by one people, us, from one source, Sirius Mu, whose remnants can be found in the floors of the Atlantic Ocean, under the ice of the Antarctic and the North Pole, in the waters off Cuba, in the waters off the Gulf of Mexico, and in central China, as well as off the coasts of Japan. All of the above being remnants of a great global catastrophe, and that the survivors of this cataclysm were the indigenous peoples who today call themselves the Twi, the Bantu, the Yanomamo, the Aboriginals of the so-called Americas of Mexim, off of the Fiji Islands, Papua New Guinea, and the Australian continent. The libraries of Alexandria showed that all the ancient religious philosophies were based entirely on the astrosophic principles of the grand cosmic cycles of unity. That all so-called races and nations of the earth, from the original blue-black, purple-black, to the brown-black, and yes, even the green-black melanated peoples, worship cosmic deity under one grand harmonious system. And here's a note. Akhenaten was not the first to proselytize to the notion of oneness of the Creator. He simply resurrected an ancient concept older than Kemet itself. Ptolemy unknowingly gathered together this evidence of the one original system of cosmic unity into one of the greatest centralized repositories of religious, spiritual, scientific, and metaphysical information known at that time. All the evidence showed that this grand unity of spiritual, theological, science, and worship prevailed in principle throughout ancient Earth. That is, until the 4th century AD. Beloved brothers and sisters, mark this time very carefully and pay the closest attention, because it was in this century that what we now refer to as African spirituality came under the most relentless, brutal, and debilitating attack. The war against the arcane sciences of our ancient Afro-Kemetic masters, or better yet, the war against evolutionary consciousness, began under the organized leadership of a man named Constantine the so-called Great. Constantine, the founder and first Pope Caesar of what became known as the Roman State Church of Christ and Christianity.